All right, let's review a little bit for this quiz. We went over quite a few things yesterday, so I'm not going to hit every single problem today. And let's see, when's this over? 21. All right, only got like 15 minutes. So let me hit some problems that we didn't do yesterday that you're going to see on the quiz. So I hope you're taking good notes. I hope you're paying attention. I hope you stay awake. Unlike what I saw in chapel, horrible display. All right, that's all I'm going to say. I could say a whole lot more. Just pathetic. I'm going to say more. I know it. I can't stop. But I'm going to... It doesn't do any good. It doesn't do any good. So why even bother? All right, here we go. So this says, number one on the quiz, it says find the x and y intercepts. So we haven't talked about this in quite a while, so I want to make sure we hit this. If we don't finish and I don't hit everything I wanted to today, go to the first geometry class. It's in red on YouTube. All right, go to that and watch it. I hit everything for that class, okay? So in case I don't hit everything, it's still your responsibility to know what's on the quiz. All right, so let's find the x and y intercepts. I go through a little bit of explanation about what the x and y intercept is from the last class. So I'm going to skip that part of it right now. I'm just going to show you how to get the answer to this. It's probably all you want anyway, but here we go. So they give you an equation. They put it in standard form, and they want you to find the x and y intercept. That's where the line crosses the x-axis and where it crosses the y-axis. Does anybody remember that? How do you find the x-intercept? You set something. Set the y equal to 0. So let me write that right here. Set the x to find the... Oops, what's going on there? To find the x-intercept, you set the y equal to 0. Set what y equal to 0? Well, the y in that equation right there. All right? So you're going to make this a 0. So it's 3x minus 4 times 0 equals 12. Well, 4 times 0 is 0. 3x equals 12. Divide both sides by 3, and x equals 4. That's your x-intercept. But the way we want to write it is an ordered pair. Okay, it crosses the x-axis at 4, but what's the ordered pair then? It's 4 what? What did we set the y equal to? 0. So the y is 0 and the x is 4. Everybody see that? This is how I want you to write the answer. I hope you're writing this down. All right? Don't just write x equals 4. Everybody hear me? Yes? Okay. I see about 3 people writing stuff down. There should be all of you writing this down. So 4, 0 is how I want you to write the answer. That's the only acceptable answer right there. Yes? This? Yeah, because 4 times 0 is 0. All right? 4 times 0 is 0, so I don't need it, right? So it's just 3x equals 12. All right? This is how I want you to write the answer. Write that down in your notes somewhere. All right? You write it as an ordered pair. Write it as 4, 0. All right. Now we find the what? We found the x-intercept. Now we find the y-intercept. So how do we find the y-intercept? We set the other one, the x equal to 0. And again, in the last class, I went through why we set the x equal to 0 if you're interested in that. So let's take that same equation. And this time, we're going to make the x equal to 0. And we're going to solve for y. So it's 3 times x, which is 3 times 0, because we set the x equal to 0, minus 4y equals 12. Again, right here, what's 3 times 0? It's 0, so I don't need it, do I? Do you have a question? Well, when I find the x-intercept, I set y equal to 0. When I find the y-intercept, I set the x equal to 0, okay? So you set the opposite one to 0, whatever you're solving for, okay? Now, what do I do here? Well, let's just write it down so we see it nice and neat. Yep, divided by what? 4? Is that a 4? What is this? It's a negative 4. You're not dividing by negative 4y, we're just dividing by the negative 4. Because we want the y to stay there. I don't want the y to cancel out. All right, so I just divide by negative 4. Come over here, divide by negative 4. So what's y equal to? Negative 3. Do I write my answer like that and circle it? No, I write it as an ordered pair. So where do I put the y? The negative 3. I put it in the second one. What do I put in the first one for the x? 0, because I set x equal to 0, correct? Does that make sense? So this is your answer. Those two things that are circled right there, that's your answer. Okay, and I have a spot on there for x-intercept equals, got a blank, y-intercept equals, got a blank, right? You put the ordered pairs in there. Don't just say x equals 4 and y equals negative 3. Have I said that enough today? Maybe not enough, because I know, right? Somebody check me tomorrow, okay? I know somebody's going to write x equals 4 and leave that as your answer. All right, but I'm telling you, you need to write it as an ordered pair. Okay, I don't know how many times I got to say that. Probably about 10 more times. And even then, somebody's not going to do it. All right, number 2. I'll give you... Now, the problems on the quiz could be these exact same numbers, or they could be some different numbers, right? But they're the same style of problem, okay? The type of problem is exactly the same. Everybody got me on that? Except I'm going to maybe throw different numbers in there, all right? So make sure you know that. All right, this one says, write the slope-intercept form of the equation of this line, and they give you the equation of the line. Here it is, 6x plus y equals 5. What form is this in right now? This is in standard form, right? We want to put it into what? Slope-intercept form, okay? So that's what we're doing. So let's talk a bit about slope-intercept form. Something everybody should have memorized, should be right at the forefront of your mind. Yeah, y equals mx plus b. All right, everybody's got that. You've heard that 100 times, haven't you, in here now? Y equals mx plus b. That's 101. All right, so what do we need to do? We need to solve for what? We need to solve for y. See how y is by itself here? So I need to get y by itself here. In this particular problem, we only got to do one step and we're done. Pretty much. We're pretty much done. Yeah, subtract the 6x from both sides. So subtract the 6x here, come over here and subtract the 6x. We did a bunch of this yesterday. If you want to watch yesterday's video, you'll see that we did a whole bunch of those. The 6x and the 6x cancel, bring down the y. Now, we don't write it 5 minus 6x, though. And I'm not going to go 5 minus 6 is negative 1 either, because they're not like terms. I want the x first before I put the number. So what am I going to put first? Negative 6x, good. And then plus 5, very good. All right, make sure you keep the signs the way they were. Okay, this was a negative 6x, so we put negative 6x. This is a positive 5, so you put plus 5. You don't have to graph, not this one. You will. There's going to be some where you have to, but not on this one. All you have to do is put it into slope-intercept form, okay? And that's it, right there. We're done. Number 2 is finished. That's all you have to do with number 2. All you have to do is just solve for y. Just put it in the slope-intercept form. Everybody got it? Now, you're going to have a problem. Tell you what, let's do it right now since we're talking about this. Number 10, I do ask you to graph. I actually ask you to graph 4 lines, okay? So the last 4, 7, 8, 9, and 10 are all graphs. I'm just going to do 10 right now. So this one does say graph. All right, so let's graph this. Again, the problem on the quiz could be these numbers or it could be different numbers. Just make sure you're aware of that. So before I graph it, I have to do something to this. I can't just graph it the way it is right now. It's in standard form. Standard form is not a really good way to look at it and just plot your points and graph it. So I got to change it to another form. Take a wild guess what that other form is. Slope-intercept form, right. So what am I going to do, Owen?
Sorry, you're going to take the...
Did you have a question or you were going to just... Okay.
Can you do y and x and y-intercept form for that too?
For this, you could. Because all I say is just graph it. So if you want to find the x-intercept and the y-intercept and then just connect them, if you want to do it that way, that's fine. I'll let you do it. But I want you to really learn how to do this. Okay, put it in a... Yeah, so minus 4 what? X. All right, so I get rid of the... Right, just like I did over here, right? Got rid of the negative 6x. I get rid of the 6x by subtracting. Same thing here. So that cancels. What am I left with? 2y equals, switch the order, negative 4x, right? We've done that a whole bunch, right? That shouldn't be a problem for you, right? We've done that a lot yesterday anyway. One more step that the other problem didn't have. What's that next step? Yeah, divide by 2. Divide this by 2 and divide this by 2. All right, you divide everything by 2. The 2's cancel. Y equals, what's this? Negative 4 over 2. It's just negative 2x plus 5. That's what we're graphing right there. It's not my answer, okay? Is that a graph? No. Is this a graph? No. It says to graph it. So we got to come over here and graph it. And I will give you these little graph things so you can use this. You don't have to draw your own graph thing. Graph thing. All right, so I'll give you one of these for each of the graphing problems. How many graphing problems did I say I was going to give you? 4. This is one of them. This is probably the hardest out of the 4, to tell you the truth. So now, if we want to graph this thing, you should just be able to look at this and just plot a couple points and graph it. Okay, what's the first point you're going to plot? The plus 5 is the y-intercept. That's right. Here's the y-axis. So you go 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Put a point right there. Okay, and what does this tell you right here? That's the slope, rise over run. So I start here at the y-intercept. What am I going to do? Go up or down? Go down how many? 2, and then to the right, 1, because it's a positive 1. Now look, that's a pretty short space right there. To make sure our graph is really accurate, do it a couple more times. So what are we going to go? Down 2 over 1, down 2 over 1, down 2 over 1. That's good enough. Now there will be a time, not right now, you don't, to tell you the truth, to get this right on the quiz, you don't have to be super, super accurate, but there will be some times that we do a little bit later that you're going to have to be very, very accurate with this, okay? But not right now. It might not even be until Algebra 2, to tell you the truth. But anyway, there you go. There's your graph, and you've graphed it. No biggie. No big deal. Everybody got that? Okay. So make sure you can solve for y, because you're going to have to do it at least 2 different times. Let's see, what else haven't I covered? Basically just the other graphing. So let's do that real quick. And I think we'll be able to get everything finished. So between yesterday and today, I've got every question on the quiz covered. All right. So what if I said this? All these are also graphing. Tell you what, I'm going to do these in different colors. All right. Guys, please. I've already asked you once. I was really polite about it. I'm going to be impolite in a minute. All right. So let's do another color. What if I said graph x equals, I don't know, -3? There's no y in here. It's just x equals. So that's one of our special kind of graphs. It's super easy if you know which direction to make it. All right, that's the thing. So x equals, that means it goes through what? No, it goes through the x-axis. Okay, it goes through the x-axis. Where? At -3. 1, 2, 3. So what kind of line is it then? It's a vertical line, okay? It's a vertical line. Even though it says x, because we kind of think x means horizontal, don't we? All right? So that's where you could get tricked up. Because x equals, you think, oh, that's a horizontal line. But it's not. It goes through the x-axis. Okay, where? At -3, and it's a vertical line. Yes? Okay, that's what I'm going to do right now. Good question. So that was number 7. Okay, this is number 8. So good question. What if I said y equals, I don't know, 2? All right? And there's no x in there. It's just y equals 2. What does that mean? It goes through the what? The y-axis at 2. So I put a point right here. What kind of line is it going to be? It's going to be a horizontal line. Okay? Everybody see that? All right? Yeah, you could think of the opposite, but I don't like to think of it that way. I like to think of it as, if it says x equals, that means it goes through the x-axis. All right? If it says y equals, it goes through the y-axis at that point. Everybody hear me on that? I think that's a better way to think of it. All right? Then I got one more to do, and then we'll be done. This one's kind of like we did on number 10, except you don't have to do the work. They already set it up for you in slope-intercept form. I'll just make one up. Y equals, I don't know, 2x minus 3. All right? So what if you were going to graph this? Super easy. Should be anyway, shouldn't it? Everybody should get this. -3, what does that tell you? Y-intercept, 1, 2, 3. So on the y-axis, you put a point at -3. What does this thing tell you? 2 over 1. So I go up 2 to the right 1. Do it a couple times. 1, 2, 1. See how it hits right there? That's one of the reasons why you want to go up a couple, because, you know, a few more times. You could go down to the left one, couldn't you? All right. And again, the only reason I'm putting all these extra points there is just so that I'm very accurate with this. All right, so that's it. That's the quiz. Look at the stuff we did yesterday, and you should be good. So please be ready for it. Put a little studying into it, okay?